Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel Budgeting Belle. Today's video is going to be me setting up my first March paycheck budget. So I am a bi-weekly or fortnightly budgeter as I get paid every 2 weeks, and I do a separate budget for each paycheck. Before I get into that though, I did just want to make a few quick comments on my current mindset towards my finances. So I guess if you've been watching my channel at all, you may know that I kind of started my financial journey and my debt payoff journey on the 1st of January this year. And I guess the reason for starting that was just because I had a kind of like an aha moment about how much debt I was actually in and how long it would actually take me to pay off that debt. And also I got declined for a loan. I was trying to consolidate some debt into a personal loan at a lower interest rate than my credit cards were, and I was declined. And that kind of really made me realize that I couldn't keep going the way I was, just because my mindset back then was just buy whatever I want, spend whatever I want, not really thinking about anything, and that if I ever needed money, I'd be able to take out more debt to cover it. And then when I got declined, I realized, well, no, actually, I can't just keep taking out more debt. I need to actually have money to cover the things I want and need. So yeah, I started this journey then, and I think the last 2 months I've definitely been a lot better with my finances. I have been following a budget. I've been sticking to the budget pretty much, besides a few impulse purchases, but I think I could definitely be pushing harder, and that's kind of why I wanted to make these comments. So while I have been following a budget, I think I could still be saving money in areas, particularly in my variable expenses. I think I could be better at saving money on food and personal spending. And I've kind of just had this mindset shift where I really want to start doing that. I want to save every single penny that I can. And I think what kind of clicked in my head over the last few days is I guess like a short-term thing, something like, buying a jumper or going out to a nice meal. Is that really worth sacrificing my long-term goals and my long-term vision for my life? So, is buying that Taylor Swift jumper that I bought recently worth not being able to afford to purchase a home in a few years? It's not. So that's kind of, been a big shift in my mindset over the last few days. And I'm kind of very motivated now to save more, put more towards debt to get my finances even more in order. So I'm feeling good about things and just wanted to kind of give you those little updates. But now let's get into this paycheck. So on the 9th of March, I am planning just to get my regular income from my employer, which is $2,751.82. And my salary packaging is combined with that at $346.53. I'm not planning for any extra income, not planning to use savings, and not planning for any other kind of things. So that means I'm planning to get my regular paycheck of $3,098.35. Moving down to bills, this is actually a pretty good paycheck because not many bills are coming out. So most of my bills tend to fall at the very end of the month or the very beginning of the month. So because this is a paycheck that's kind of mid-month, not as much is coming out, which is nice for a change. So the things that will come out are my mortgage, which is $700, my health insurance at $128.60, my internet, that is unlimited NBN for $75, my premium Spotify account for $11.99, and my contents insurance for $29.10. Which means for bills over the next 2 weeks, I'm planning to spend around $944.69. Moving down to variable. So as I mentioned, this is kind of the area I really do want to cut back on. However, I'm hesitant to just strip these right down to bare bones, just because then if I don't budget for what may happen, then I may get left short not having enough. So I am going to keep my budget quite similar to what it has been, but I'm hoping that then when I do my budget closeouts, the actual amount will be a lot lower than what I originally budgeted. So we'll see how that goes. So for petrol, I'm still doing $1.50. That is something I actually can't minimize, I guess, because petrol is a certain cost and I have to drive. As I have mentioned previously though, I am moving my work closer to home 3 days a week, so hopefully it should naturally reduce, but we'll see. Tolls, I am still putting here $101. Because of my work moving closer to home 3 days, I'm also hoping these tolls will not come out as frequently. So they currently come out every 2 weeks. This amount gets withdrawn from my account, but I'm hoping going forward they will only come out once every 4 weeks now. I just haven't got the timeline lined up yet on what day they will come out, so I am still just going to budget them just to be extra safe. My food and groceries, so I have decided to decrease this. So usually I budget $450. However, I'm going to put that down to $400. Now, household, I'm still going to budget $50, but planning not to spend all of that. Same for health and personal and miscellaneous. So I'm still budgeting $50 for all those last 4 categories. However, I'm really hoping not to be, spending that money and then being able to put the leftover money into sinking funds so I can start actually building them up as well. Speaking of my sinking funds, so I haven't put any starting balances in here yet, just because when I'm filming this, the last paycheck hasn't finished up or closed out yet. But what I'm planning to put towards sinking funds for this paycheck, very simple. I'm pretty sure I'm just putting money only towards one, and that is my strata rates. And the reason I'm putting money towards that is because I do need to put $500. So because it's a lot of money, that's kind of all I can afford. I can't really afford to be putting lots of money into other things when I have to really get that taken care of. So my strata rates are around $800 usually, and they're due at the end of March. So I've got this paycheck and next paycheck before I'll have to pay them. We put $0 to the rest of these for now. I am hoping to contribute more to a variety of sinking funds in the second half of this year. Moving down to my debt, and more debt savings and investments. We'll look at all of them because they're kind of all together. Investments down here I will not be doing anything for. Business-wise or debt-wise, so business debt is my current debt I'm focusing on, but I might just leave that and come back to that. Just because we'll explain what's going to be happening with that. But credit cards. So I have talked about these in the past as well, that all my credit cards are all due at the exact same time, pretty much. They're all due at the end of the month, which means I usually have one paycheck at the beginning of the month that has like no debt due or very minimal, only the personal loan. And then the paycheck towards the end of the month has everything due. And that's been difficult. So I've decided to kind of just manually split them up, because I do get my credit card bills usually by the 10th of the month, and then they're not due until the 30th or the 31st. So even though they're not due until the 31st, if I've got it on the 10th, it doesn't stop me from paying it earlier. So what I've decided to do is start paying my credit card 1 and credit card 2 in the first half of the month. And that way credit card 3 can just get paid in my second paycheck at the end of the month. So that way it's split more evenly throughout the month. So therefore, this paycheck I will have to put $100 towards the first credit card and $115 towards the second credit card. Now my personal loan will continue to come out every single paycheck, so every 2 weeks for $213.90. This paycheck, my family loan is getting nothing, but from next paycheck, so the second paycheck in March, I will start putting $100 aside for this as well. Now savings, this is another change in my budget. So, because I haven't put anything towards savings at all this year, because I've just been hyper-focused on debt and also paying like my big expenses at the beginning of the year, like my car registration and strata. So my new phone fund, I'm not worried about at the moment at all, so I'm not putting anything towards that. But my emergency fund is something I do want to start prioritizing. So basically now, if we look at what I've got left, I've got my business debt and my emergency fund. And if I scroll down, I've got $373.76 left to budget. Now I've kind of gone back and forth about how I want to divvy up this money between these two areas. And what I have decided is that I don't want to prioritize one over the other, or I don't want to completely exclude one, just because I feel like they're both very important at the moment. So what I've decided is to keep it a bit fun, I am going to be starting up some savings challenges. I think there's 3 or 4 that I'm planning on starting up, and I'll do a separate video on all of that. But every single dollar I earn or save in those challenges, I will put towards my emergency fund. After I've done those challenges, whatever money I have left out of this $373, I will then put towards my business debt. So that means that every paycheck I guess a different amount will be going to my emergency fund. It's not like a set amount. It's not like $100 every paycheck or $50, because some of the challenges I'm doing have variable amounts. So some paychecks will get less in the emergency fund and some will get more. I think with the challenges I'm considering, probably the minimum that would go towards it would be around 50, but the maximum would be around 300. So yeah, it will just kind of depend on where our money gets split up that paycheck, depending on how the challenges work out that paycheck. So that way I'm quite happy with that plan, because that way I get some in each goal. And I'll just trial that for the next month or two and see how that goes. I'm happy to change it if it's not working. And of course, as always, I'm more than open to suggestions if you think something else may work better. So I'm not actually going to allocate this $373 just because I'm not sure how much would go to the emergency fund versus how much would go to the business debt. It might just depend on how those challenges work out. So I'm just going to leave those blank for now, and we'll just know when I do my actual budget what I've put in. But that's all for today. If you have any comments, please leave them down below. And if you're interested in following along on my journey, if you can subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you. Bye.